Welcome to another edition of Cats Wrap with myself, Parker Wheeler, and my co-host, Ben Nahn.
There's a lot of excitement that took place in Durham this past week, and I'm not just talking about a few presidential candidates that came to town. Let's take a look at some of the records and scores. Men's soccer is off to a hot start, still going 5-0-1. They took down UMass 1-0. Women's soccer continues to struggle late in games, losing 1-0 in Northeastern. Their record's at 2-5-3. Women's cross country came in first place, NU Maine, this past weekend, and men's cross country finished in second to round it out.
One of the most exciting things on the UNH campus for many people involved in athletics is the new video board over at the Whittemore Center. Athletic Director Marty Scarano, along with the two head coaches of the men's and women's teams, Dick Umili and Hillary Witt, were there for the unveiling. It was quite a sight to see as they turned on the lights all at the video board, and I know you were there as well. Pretty incredible for this whole everything, hockey and all over UNH.
It was a monumental moment here in Durham for sure. Absolutely to see the video board up there, and at first they had a little technical sound difficulties there, but then once it got going, it was loud and the excitement filled the Whittemore Center. I can't wait for hockey games to begin and just the fans that are in awe because of this video board.
Now let's take a look at your interview with Coach Dick Umili at the event.
I'm here with Coach Umili. Coach, what are your thoughts on the new Jumbotron?
Well, I'll tell you what, everybody's excited. We've got people here from across the street in the field house. They saw it for the first time, and they're all excited, cheering and hooting. So we've seen it the last couple of days. Everybody here is really excited. The players, for sure. Personally, I just think it's going to do wonders here for the fan experience.
What do you think during the game, how it's going to help you guys, instant replay and whatnot?
Well, I just think it's going to get the fans involved. There's a lot of ways you can get the fans involved with replay, but having the fans in the stands, whether it's dancing and who knows, maybe kiss cam, whatever, all of that, you just get the fans involved in the game along with the action on the ice.
How do your players feel about it?
Well, they're real excited, and we've been talking about it for a couple of years, and it's finally here, so everybody's anxious to play a game here.
Appreciate your time. For UNH Wildcat Productions, my name is Ben Nahn.
Parker, Coach Dick Umili's been here for 25 years now, and after talking to him, he's excited. This is great for Wildcat country. And I think after hearing Marty Scarano said they didn't want to be the last school in Hockey East to have a video board, even though they were close, they finally got it. Coach Umili's happy.
Absolutely. You can tell his excitement just in the interview with you there, but you could even see it in him while he was speaking. Obviously, clearly excited about it, and you're right. They were close to being the last team in Hockey East, but they did get it done.
It's going to be amazing to see for sure.
And now we send it down to our old Kelsey Campbell for an interview with Hillary Witt.
So, Coach, what are your general thoughts on this video board?
It's just, honestly, it's very cool. 2015 technology is a big piece of a kid's life, and I think for our students, athletes, and also for the fans, it's just a piece that they expect. So, the thing about our kids is they appreciate it. They don't expect it, but this day and age, it's something that it's really neat and they'll benefit from.
You mentioned the fans. How is this going to sort of contribute to the overall fan experience here at men's and women's hockey games in general?
Yeah, I think it's going to make a big difference for them to be able to look at something between periods and between plays and to have replay and to be able to see a play. Hockey's a fast game. I think for a lot of fans, they miss plays and they miss goals and they miss things. And for them to be able to look up and see it again, I think will make a big difference. And I think for the kids and the families, for them to do something, hockey's a game where you have intermission twice. So, it'll just bring more of a full fan effect to the game.
And with those replays and highlights, how are those going to contribute to your overall team performance, as well as from a coaching perspective? How are you going to use those to really enhance your team's performance?
Sure. I mean, in hockey, when you're coaching, you miss a lot of plays, too, whether you're talking to another player or you just miss something. And so it's nice to be able to see the replay after a play, especially on a goal or a goal against. So it'll help us there. And I think for the players, I think just the whole experience will make them more confident, more proud, and just excited to play.
Awesome. Well, thanks for joining me.
Thank you.
Back to you guys.
Wildcats fans will enjoy the video board debut very shortly, beginning on the 26th for the women's hockey team as they take the ice against Oakville at 1 p.m. Then after that, they begin their season on the 2nd of October against UMaine at 7 p.m. On the other side, the men's team begins on the 4th against St. Francis Xavier for a game at 4 p.m., and then they open up the start of the season against American International on the 10th at 7 p.m. So a lot of good ice time to look forward to for men's and women's hockey. Fans should be excited to see this video board.
Coming up, we take a look at men's soccer as they continued their success early in the season with their 1-0 victory over UMass. But first, we'll take you into women's soccer. The women's soccer team played in their third straight overtime game this weekend. Let's take a look at the highlights from Sunday. The pace was controlled most of the game by Northeastern, but the Wildcats held strong for a large majority of it as they played back and forth, and they went into a long game. As take a look here, Mimi Borkin had a season-high 11 saves on the day. She played phenomenal for the Wildcats and really stuck them in that game for as long as she could. Here's a good opportunity for the Wildcats as well. They had a couple chances on goal. None of them were able to find their way to the back of the net, and it went all the way into double overtime in the end, as the Wildcats weren't quite able to hold off Northeastern, as Comins was able to put one into the back of the net for the Huskies to give them the 1-0 victory.
Yeah, Parker, it was another tough loss for the Wildcats. They seem to keep fighting in these games so hard. 3 straight overtime losses. That's going to, deflate you a little bit. I feel like Caroline Murray, she had 4 shots in that game. Also, Mimi Borkin making big saves. This is kind of like last year. They just struggling to get goals, and they go deep into the games, and then they just lose it at the end. I feel like they can get there really soon. Hopefully they turn it up with America East play right around the corner.
Yeah, they get a week off before they start playing Binghamton here in America East play, as you mentioned. But yeah, you're absolutely right. They're in these games. The defense is strong, which was a strong point for them last year as well. Those goals have got to come. They're going to come eventually. You can see it from this team. They're going to get there. So we'll keep an eye on that, and let's take a look at their upcoming schedule here.
On tap for women's soccer, they'll end September the 27th versus Binghamton at 2 p.m. That will open up conference play. And as the calendar turns to October, they'll head on out to Burlington, Vermont to take on UVM at 3 p.m. and then back here on the 4th against Albany at 2 p.m.
UNH volleyball came back from their tournament this weekend with a 2-1 record. They fell to Syracuse in the first game by a 3-1 set score. They then defeated Buffalo 3-0 in a sweep, and then beat Navy in the final game 3-2. So overall, looked good for them. 2 wins. I know after a shaky tournament they had at home, they're starting up conference play very soon, so it's good to see them get back on their feet.
It's the bread and butter now of their schedule, conference play. This is where the Wildcats really have excelled in the last 2 years. Madison Lightfoot in that tournament, though, set an all-time digs record. She has 1,435 in her prolific career for the Wildcats, so that's just unheard of. She's been great. She's the spark that they need, the captain, co-captain, leader of this team. I think the Wildcats will find their groove, and that tournament was really a big step as they move into conference play.
Now let's take a look at the upcoming games for the volleyball team.
Yeah, Parker, the Wildcats will get on to America East play, taking on Hartford this Friday at 7 p.m. here from Lungholm. And then they'll go to Albany to take on the Great Danes at 7 p.m. Last time out, the Wildcats lost 31-6 to Stony Brook to open up CAA play. Taking a look at the comparisons from the 3 games this season to last season, you can see the Wildcats at 1-2 started off 2-1 last season. Their points per game are nearly half. And with the injury to Sean Goldrich right now, the passing is almost a third of what it was last season. But the rushing is kept up, so the Wildcats can look at some positives here, but they have struggled to start the season so far.
Certainly it is difficult, especially like you said, when that quarterback is out. But at the same time, they've got a lot that they've got to step up. Defense also right now isn't exactly where they'd like it to be. So, you'll start to see this maybe increase as the season goes on once they get more into this conference play. And hopefully in the end, it'll result in something that happened like last year with a team that ended up being very good and making it pretty far into the playoffs.
Absolutely. I think the Wildcats are on the right road. They just got to start, putting it all together on the field.
Now let's take a look at the upcoming schedule for the football team. The 26th is their home opener versus Central Connecticut State at 6 p.m. It's also Parents' Weekend, so make your way to Durham for that game. Then the game all UNH fans look forward to. It's homecoming on October 3rd versus Elon at 3:30 p.m. And finally there on the list, the 17th at William & Mary at noon. Now let's take a look at our Wildcat trivia question.
How many digs does Madison Lightfoot have in her career?
Tweet your answers at CatsRapUNH, and if you get the right answer, you'll be mentioned on next week's show.
For the first time since 2008, the men's soccer team has started out 5-0-1, undefeated through their first 6 games. Their last win came against UMass 1-0 with an A.J. Albers game-winning goal. Parker, the Wildcats have just been on absolute tear so far through these first 6 games, just finding ways to beat teams. Let's take a look at some of the highlights from this game between the Minutemen and the Wildcats. It was a raucous crowd from Bremner Field as a lot of fans came to see their undefeated Wildcats take on the Minutemen. Chris Wingate, one of the captains for the Wildcats, almost got on the board in the 7th minute. Here in the 39th minute, he had a nice shot off the crossbar. So it was neck and neck for most of the game. Few chances for both the Minutemen and the Wildcats. This one almost off the edge of the goal there to end up the first half. And then as we moved into the second half, with 55 minutes, A.J. Albers tallied his 2nd goal of the season. The play started with Fazil Nabi lobbed it cross in from the left side of the box, and Auburn's with a great header there, as you can see, put the Wildcats on the board 1-0, moving in to the end of their game to win 1-0. So Parker, I gotta say the Wildcats have really just dominated in ways to find goals throughout the game. Defensively, they look sharp. This is a great start, and I think the sky's the limit for the Wildcats.
Absolutely. Like you said, first time since 2008, this late into the season, that they haven't had a loss yet. They're continuing the strong play, and right now, it doesn't look like many teams are going to be able to stop them. We'll have to keep up and keep a watch on that as well.
Absolutely. The Wildcats were on the road last Tuesday to take on Northeastern. Tune in next week to find out the result of that game. But to wrap up September, the Wildcats will head to Columbia, New York to take on Columbia at 7 p.m. And then the Wildcats, as the calendar flips, will be on the road once again to take on UMass Lowell at 3 p.m. and then on the 6th to take on the Crimson of Harvard at 7 p.m.
Don't forget to tune in to Cats Wrap next week. There are 7 home games for the Wildcats coming up this weekend. We'll try to wrap all that up for you and give you all the information you need.
And make sure to follow us on Twitter at CatsWrapUNH to find out the answer to last week's trivia question.
For Ben Nahn and the entire production crew, my name is Parker Wheeler. Thank you for tuning in, Wildcats, and have a great week.